darling.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm all right. There is so much to talk about this week.
I know. Well, that's what happens when you only do one episode.
I know. Buckle in, guys. It's going to be a big one.
A lot has changed in this week.
I'm like, there isn't even a standout couple to go to because there's so many
Dramas.
heavy hitters.
I know, big hitters. Usually there's like one massive drama per episode. No, per week or whatever.
Oh my God. One
can't
after
keep
the
up.
other. So we're talking about Family and Friends Week.
Yes.
And the surrounding drama.
And also the crash course week for those that are the new couples.
Oh, yes.
So we had a crash course intimacy week and confessions week.
That might be quite a good place to start to ease us in.
Bloody hell, I don't even know.
To start perhaps with Lauren and Clint.
Well, before we do, I just want to quickly say, sorry that there's only one episode this week.
Yeah, sorry guys.
It was A, Daisy Flynn's birthday, and B, you were really ill.
Yes, I've been very ill.
We literally couldn't record. You were snotty.
You wouldn't have wanted to hear that.
No, it was bad.
You know, I'm still a little bit nasal, but
I know.
we're getting there.
But you're beautiful. And yeah, when I came home from work on Tuesday, I looked at you and said, "You look bad."
I sort of dabbed some cotton wool pads on my eyes. Maybe I've still got mascara there, and if I take it off, my eyes will look normal. No, they looked worse.
Yeah, you said,
red,
"Do
swollen.
I look better?" And I said, "If anything, you look worse." It's not looking good for you.
It was not good.
Yeah, so sorry about that, everyone. But here we are, and we're going to give you a massive episode on this podcast I used to work on, which probably won't take a lot of work for people to work out what that was.
Yeah.
They used to always say a big bumper episode.
Bumper?
Or bumper? But I'm pretty sure they said bumper.
What?
And I was like, am I missing something?
I don't know what that would... It would probably have been bumper.
But even bumper I don't like. Why is it a bumper episode?
I don't know. It's like a bumper pack. It's like when you get... I don't know where...
What's that?
It's when you... The tumble dryer has just gone off.
It said it was
like
off.
a ghost. It's turned it on.
I know you're recording.
A bumper pack of something is like when you get extra of the thing, like I don't know, a bumper pack of rubbers.
Actually, okay, now that you've said bumper pack,
yeah,
you might have said that a minute ago, but for some reason it's only just clicked. Like a bumper pack of baby wipes. That seems like a bumper thing.
Yeah, is that because they're used on bums?
I was thinking like bump.
It works in two ways.
Ooh.
Well, I don't know what the bump fur thing is. Some sort of German alternative. The Bumpferpack. The Bumpferpacken.
Hi, spinach.
Oh, here he comes.
Oh,
Look, searching for the limelight.
Coming up.
Come on in, pups.
You want to go past the tea? Well,
hello, Shuggy Pants.
Okay.
Yeah, I love you. I thought we could start with Lauren and Clint because there's stuff to delve into with them anyway, but also it can kind of lead us into Elliot and Veronica because
wonderful
of the association.
Yes.
So we're swiftly reminded of why Lauren is an idiot in this episode, and I feel kind of like annoyed that I was letting her off so much earlier on. She's quite a nasty piece of work, isn't she?
She isn't very nice. So what specifically has reminded you of this? Because I've actually only got a few notes on her.
I've only got a few, but her being like, "You want to do the washing?"
Yeah.
Okay. I don't like that. I want to serve my husband, but you have to be an alpha.
I think she specifically said as well, I think that's a girl's job.
Yeah, that's the girl's job.
Oh, for God's sake. Yeah, the alpha thing.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, she's like obsessed with Clint, liking Clint and all of these things about him, but still saying the alpha thing.
Or doesn't want him to go and get spray tan, doesn't want him to...
It is quite ick that he does get a spray tan with the little... Yeah, she talks about the little G-string.
the little pants.
And shaves his chest.
But...
he's metrosexual, obviously.
Mate, he probably looks better than he would have if he hadn't done that. So,
True, I guess.
you know, he's keeping himself...
Taking pride in his appearance.
Yeah. You know, maybe he's got a very pale, ruddy complexion. Imagine that in Australia. I can't possibly imagine what that's like. And so he's, you know, polishing himself up for her.
Yeah. Shaving your chest, though.
Yeah.
That's odd.
That's odd because that's what like muscly men do, isn't
But
it?
all I can think about with if you're shaving your chest is just the stubbly bits. Because
Stubbly.
it would be back immediately.
If you're rubbing up against someone,
Yeah.
which let's hope is in their future, you know.
It's definitely not in their present.
No.
Because they've said they keep talking about being friends and very good friends at the moment.
I think she did say, talking to Clint gives me a feeling in my nipples, though. So
she's weird, man.
I know.
I mean, good. I'm glad that she has a feeling in her nipples with him.
And they watched their audition tapes.
Oh,
and
yeah.
hers was, I mean, shocking to him, but not to us.
Yeah.
Her saying, I need someone who's got a few properties. I don't really want to have to keep my business. You know, all of this. And he's just sitting there gulping and you can see him trying to validate it in his mind. Like, is this okay? I don't know if this is okay. I want him to step away.
Yeah.
I don't know. I liked them, but I think that his reaction to that shows that that's not really what he's after.
And she's not really after him based on what she says about his choices, his choices that he makes with his body.
Yeah.
Also, she does about probably 100 million things. Imagine what's underneath that hair to make it stay up the way it is. That's enough to give anyone the ick. I screamed. Before the dinner party, I screamed when I saw her hair because I hated it so much. It's so disgusting. What is she putting under there?
I don't know.
It looks fucking
so
stupid.
much sort of powder must be going on.
It was bad enough where she wore the headband and it was boofed up, but boofed up with nothing. Just boof. Why? Sorry, Spinach. That made his eyes open.
And Clint said to her, like, so do you want a part in the making plans and ideas?
Oh, yeah.
And she was like, no, if I trust you to have ideas, then I'm happy for you to do all of the thinking.
Just follow your plans.
And he was like,
He doesn't seem to be too vocal in his
no, it's all going on
disapproval.
It's all going on in his face, isn't it?
Yeah, I wonder what's going to happen if at the commitment ceremony he's going to have a bit more to say about it, because he does seem intimidated by her, and she kind of said I will dominate the situation if there isn't an alpha enough person. So he obviously isn't given the space to even try to be. Oh God, and do you remember at the dinner party when he was talking about talking dirty, and he said something about scrubbing the way you spread toast, which doesn't make sense.
I thought he said the way she spreads her toes. And I was like, God.
Goodness. Foot fetish.
Don't talk about her toes in front of everyone like that.
Yeah, speaking of foot fetish, would anyone be interested in buying our feet pics? Comment below.
Times are hard, guys.
Yeah, times are hard. Let us know. See if we're going to be feet pics or, I don't know.
Pants.
Pants, yeah. I was going to say subscribe to the Patreon, or we're going to keep talking about the feet pics is what I was going to say. But yeah, also if you're interested in buying our pants, we'll sell them.
I've got size 14 M&S high rise with
worn by both of us, so it's pretty good stuff. We have good stuff for sale. Anyway,
true, 1 by 2 people.
Yeah,
double the money, surely.
A pair of lesbians. Come on.
And then just one more quick note.
Yeah,
Lauren was horrible about Jackie and everyone.
She's called her rough and scruffy.
Yeah,
I was like, okay.
Not that we've got much of a leg to stand on.
But we're not calling her rough. And actually, we probably said some pretty bad stuff.
She was just standing there slagging off all the women while Clint was trying to be polite.
Yeah.
Doing the ranking challenge.
Okay. Bye. Let's talk about Veronica and Elliot then.
Oh, my God.
On their ranking challenge, even before the ranking challenge, I'll come back to this. They, Lauren and Veronica had a conversation.
Yeah.
But in the ranking challenge, Elliot, he did do the challenge.
Yeah.
And listen, everyone has been saying to us, you're going to like Elliot, blah, 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 blah. I'm not saying I like him. But
we don't like him,
but we're on his side in this situation, which I'm sure everyone else is. And if you're not, let me know. But anyway, I'm going ahead of myself.
If all we had to work with was the him that we saw in this week's episodes, like we'd probably like him.
Yeah.
But obviously we've still got the memory of the terrible display of the first week.
It's quite an interesting thing to watch this all unfold, because we've had in the back of our minds that people have said they think he might be autistic,
which we completely didn't see at first.
No, but now
don't know how we missed it.
Yeah, but now watching, it's because he was an asshole, and we assume people who have autism are great, because most people that we know who have do are
who are
who
are is
who is are and do. Anyway, Elliot, we've said this. It's so funny because I think it was when we were talking about Ryan, I remember saying, this isn't Taskmaster, you don't need to follow the task to the letter, now when I'm defending Elliot with that same energy, with the opposite energy, I'm saying, like, he did do the task, he ranked them on physicality, which I think is what the photo ranking challenge is about.
I should have gone back, but I feel like it says, maybe it just says who you find most attractive.
Rank these photos on isn't that what it is? Like attractiveness?
Yeah, you can.
We've watched so many seasons of this and we don't even know what the wording is, but yeah.
It feels, it feels like it's very based on physical attraction.
Yeah.
I know what she means. Like it would be nice to hear, like, I respect this person's, I like this person's sense of humour.
Yeah.
But also, the more personal you get, the more you're risking, like,
emotional
saying
affair.
Too much, pissing off your partner. You don't want to be like, I really love that Jamie cooks because I like
really
cooking and we
that.
could cook together and blah, blah, blah. And this person's ambitious and I really want someone who's ambitious. You just be like, shut up.
Yeah, don't talk too much about all the things you like about these people. We're together.
It would be ideal if he had refused to do it like Billy did, but he said the minimum, which is the best you can do. He said, I don't really fancy her. She's not really my type. She's not really my type. She's quite attractive.
Yeah, and he kind of said, I don't really find her attractive. I don't really find her attractive. I'm like, that's fine.
Yeah. And then ranked Veronica at the top.
Now,
good.
The whole problem with this whole thing for Veronica and Elliot is that everything she is seeing has been marred by what Lauren has said to her.
Yes.
And she can't look past it.
Yes.
And so she's making problems with everything.
Which is interesting because she seemed to have no problem about it when Lauren was just a theoretical person, when she was told about it at her wedding. It was only when she met Lauren. So I feel like there's things about Veronica's personality that could be seen as more, I don't know, it's just interesting that Elliot, because he's autistic, is seen as the one with less social skills.
Don't say because, we don't actually know if he is.
Because he seems to have autistic traits.
Yeah.
Is seen as having less social skills when she is lacking a lot. And the fact that she couldn't emote to Lauren until she actually saw her face.
That's so interesting. And she couldn't emote
to Elliot's
story at all.
No, she couldn't empathise with him.
Because he wasn't plainly saying... I mean, he was
in
a way.
Did.
Yeah, okay, fine, he did. But also, I think she did a test.
Yeah.
By putting him third or whatever.
Yeah.
I think she was testing the narcissism.
And she ranked Dave first and gave quite a list of
reasons why she found him attractive.
Mm-hmm.
And if Elliot
insensitive,
did that,
so insensitive, another thing that's aimed at autistic people, that they're insensitive.
Yeah.
She was so much more insensitive than him in this whole week.
Oh my God, I can't believe how insensitive she was. She was crazy. This letter was so self-reflective.
Yeah.
I can't believe he can pinpoint why he keeps his emotions in.
Why he processes things that way.
Exactly the moment. I'm not saying that what he's done is good, that like, it's fine that you keep your emotions in check or you keep your emotions underneath because you don't want to be out of control. Like, I don't think that's kind of a bit of an excuse.
But being able to acknowledge
it was, and
where it came from,
and you know that
things.
you do it.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
all super self-reflective and self-aware, yeah.
Even before she reacted to that story badly, I feel like we were already both quite surprised. We were like, oh, that's like really perceptive of him. And we thought he was going to come out with something bullshit when he said, I'm going to share something really deep. But he didn't. It was one of the more authentic things we've seen people talk about in those letters.
And
like,
what's really upsetting about this is that the two instances when men have been the most vulnerable in this exercise on this season, they've had the most
cold reception,
and also just like bad outcome
because of Billy as well.
Billy with his letter, and they're actually being open, and they both have said like barely anyone knows this story. I've told like one person or no one.
Yeah.
And then they get met, and it's like, fuck me. Like, I don't want to say, if we're trying to encourage men to be emotionally open, can we at least support them when they're doing it?
And he was almost saying that. He was saying like, I've just told you I struggle with emotions.
Yeah.
And when I show some emotion, your reaction is to say it's not good enough. How is that going to make me open up more?
Exactly. That was such a good point. I love that he said that. He was like, if I'm telling you what I think is a really emotional thing, why would I ever do it again?
Yeah.
And why would I give you more? He also gave her so much.
She said, he gave me absolutely nothing.
I mean, she didn't even say it like that, babe. Like, she had barely any emotion in this whole situation. Whenever she had an argument with him, all she did was say, like, let me finish. Shush, I haven't finished yet. Don't raise your voice at me. Don't raise your voice at me. And I was just like, this is so devoid of anything.
She used so many, I just couldn't stop seeing it through this kind of like neurotypical versus neurodivergent lens, in that like she was using all of these sort of phrases that you pick up, that neurotypical people pick up from other people.
Yeah.
And that it like are a performance of your gender or of your social status. She was doing all of these little things that were just infuriating, like, it's my turn to speak now, like all of these little bits which just were obviously gonna, I don't know how he stayed so calm. It was amazing.
He was completely shocked.
She was infuriating.
It was amazing.
Everything he said, she had some kind of comeback like that. Even when Jamie said to her at the dinner party, like, that was a bit harsh.
Yeah.
Sounded like he was actually opening up.
Yeah.
She was like, I never said those words. It's like, just talk like a person.
She was really obsessed with the specific words that she said. And then he said, well, I just paraphrased like what you said. And she said, don't paraphrase my words. And it's like, I really empathise with that, because you know that sometimes when we have arguments, you are really good at remembering specific words that have been said, and I can't do it. Like, and I find it really annoying because I'm like, I can't remember what specific words have been said.
Yeah.
So the fact that I'm just saying I sympathise with him in that situation, but I don't know how he didn't get more annoyed.
I don't know how. I mean, he likes her, and he still likes her even after that. He must be drawn to her because she's the opposite of him or something. But it was, I never thought I would feel bad for him. I felt so bad because he was genuinely quite innocently trying to understand it, not even like getting angry, just like, no, this is good. You find me, you've got your guard up with me. You find me condescending. Tell me more about what you're finding difficult so we can work it out. Like he wanted to work it out like a problem, and she just didn't. And she literally let any of it happen.
And she literally said, he's made no effort to make this better. And before the dinner party, like, this was after he'd gone over before the dinner party and tried to say, should we walk in together? Can we have a conversation about this? Because I feel like we were making progress. And she says he's made no effort to make this better. And then
that was so annoying when he went in and she was like, how dare you come in here and incite an argument with me? He came in to try and make it better and you just shouted at him. I wonder what she feels watching it back.
She must be mortified, surely.
But then even when everyone was like, well, you think you've got this wrong? She was like, okay, I've heard everyone's comments. It was really helpful because I have realised maybe he's just not enough for me, or like maybe he can't give me enough.
What does
still
she want?
making it about his lack. Like,
yeah, there's a lot. There's so much blame, isn't there, in this? You see so many people just blaming each other all the time. But she did say, like, credit to her, that she doesn't have patience. But I wish you'd fucking recognised that before, because I'm like, I don't know what you want. How. I don't know. It's so bizarre.
It was so weird that she said that story was about someone else. She couldn't understand it was about him.
Yes, and we were talking about this like when we watched it, because I was saying that when my sister cracked her head open when she was little, and when she got her hand trapped in the door and we thought her fingers were going to fall off, I was sobbing. I was uncontrollable with my emotions. She used to sit in there and I'm like, my sister, he's cracked her fingers going to fall off. It's my fault. So like,
it's my fault. Why did you think it was your fault?
Well, I think I might have, been encouraging the fairy dancing and having the lights.
Fairy dancing.
We were doing pretend to be butterflies or something, dancing around the living room with the lights off. But I think our parents were watching us. I don't know, and she fell and hit her head. Anyway, it's fine. The door thing, that was nothing to do with me. It just happened. I just felt bad. I think I just felt bad that she would have no fingers and I would have some.
You remember those things more than you'd remember them about yourself.
Exactly.
You've told me these stories and you haven't told me stories about you getting into great. Like, I know these stories about your sister more than I know stories about you.
And surely that shows that you're surely that shows that I'm a sympathetic person. And that shows that Elliot's a sympathetic person and that they care about their family. You have good family values. I can take so many fucking things away from this. Good family values, sympathetic, cares about his sister, scared of being emotional and vulnerable because you don't want to see your caregivers be like, oh my God, there's so many things. Yeah.
If she can't see that, it would have driven me mad that she's accusing him of lacking feeling when she's lacking feeling towards him. That's why she can't understand it. It's the classic double empathy problem.
Yes, please talk about this.
Thank you, Ella Pitt, for teaching me about this. Which is the there's a misconception that autistic people lack that a breakdown of communication or understanding between an autistic person and a neurotypical person is because of the autistic person's inability to empathise, when actually this theory posits that it's a two-sided thing. It's just as much because of the neurotypical person's inability to understand the way the autistic person acts and behaves. It's the neurotypical person lacking empathy for the autistic person as well.
And it's also like it's ableism.
Yeah,
100%. Like
setting this like what's normal as the standard.
Yes, and why should autistic people or neurodivergent people or anyone that suffers twist and like kind of
have to
mold
mask
themselves into and perform to make other people feel better at the expense of their own like probably well-being, because that's exhausting to do. Why can't neurotypical people just take time to understand each? I don't know, you learn things about people's personalities and you learn what people's likes and dislikes are. I don't know, as you learn to get to know someone. Why don't people want to learn about how people like want to talk or interact
process
or
feelings and emotions? He is prepared to change and be patient and wait to understand the way she's being, and she wasn't showing any of that readiness. And this isn't forgiving him for any of the this season, apart from Adrian, is just showing us that like no one is like fully bad or fully good. Like totally. We're not letting him off the hook for his terrible views on gender or whatever. But in this instance, I really feel for him, and I think he handled himself really well.
And whether he actually is autistic or not, like this should be a lesson to people in the experiment that not every relationship looks the same. And I think the way that Veronica, you know how you were saying like it's a thing that neurotypical people have learned to say like it's my turn to speak and stuff like that. Those kinds of phrases aren't always appropriate for every conversation. And I feel like they do, and it's kind of that therapy speak and that whole thing, those words, and you see people throw them out, throwing out the word deflection or toxic or gaslighting. All of those words come up in MAFS all the time because it's gone into like common vernacular. But it's not always appropriate, and it's not I don't know what you have in your mind about how this conversation is going to go isn't always appropriate, and there needs to be space to let other people say how they feel and what their response is.
And also Elliot was kind of cutting through that and being he's just being very direct and saying like what is actually going on here, what are we actually talking about, and that shouldn't be received as rudeness.
How is that rude?
Shouldn't be received as worse than her doing all of these bits,
and it's just so mad that she thinks that he's not wanting to help fix the situation when that's all he's doing.
Yeah.
Finally, I think if Australia's Next Top Model still existed, that's the show she would be on. It literally says she's a fucking PT and actress. Like, I think I'm pretty convinced that this isn't authentic arguing because it's too weird. Surely she can see that she's being wrong. It's an audition for Neighbours, or she hasn't got a hope in making a lasting relationship with someone.
Yeah.
Unless she takes some lessons.
Oh my God.
Because that was weird.
That was absolutely bonkers.
And I do think that is a lot to do, like, a lot of that is Lauren's fault for having put things in her head a bit unfairly.
It did make you feel a bit bad for Elliot, thinking he got matched with Lauren and then Veronica.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess at the end of the day, he never really said he doesn't like Lauren. In fact, when he did the ranking challenge, he said he found her attractive.
I respected that he said that.
Yeah, but I mean, my point is, like, he
was
a dick to her, because I'm like, he never said, like, I don't like you because.
He was a dick to her, but, like, he didn't like her. Well, he probably didn't like her because she was older.
Yeah.
But also he didn't like her for the same reasons that we don't like her.
Yeah.
So it's a bit difficult to, like, you know, the fact that she's materialistic and rude.
Yeah.
That probably played into it. Anyway, I'm being far too nice to him now. But it was the way that he dealt with those feelings of not liking her that were completely wrong.
Totally.
And his expectations of women were also completely wrong.
And that we haven't forgotten those things.
No. But I was just like, woof. Those are quite two personalities to be matched with.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. What a fascinating situation. Speaking of fascinating turns.
Yes.
Can we talk about Morena and Tony?
Oh my God.
This is absolutely brilliant. This whole thing that's just happened is so funny. And it's like Tony's just been waiting for a moment to talk to someone who asks him a question, because as soon as Morena's friends asked him, like, what do you actually want? He was so open to them telling her best friends that he doesn't like her personality.
Very, very clearly saying, oh, we're just going to be friends. There's no romance. He's never said this.
I was like, oh,
yeah.
Okay, Tony, why don't you tell Morena that, love? So funny. And then he's just absolutely kidding himself, like, going along still wearing the outfits. And again, it's actually, we've said this a few weeks ago when he wore the leather jacket and kind of made that about him. He's doing these matching outfits to, like, appeal to, like, to make himself, to show off, basically.
I'm frustrated that he's ended up being our kind of worst fears of what he might be.
Yeah.
We've never quite trusted him from the start.
Yeah.
And he didn't have to like her. He just should have been clear about it.
Yeah.
I don't blame him for not wanting to hang out with her when she's furious all the time.
Yeah.
But
it sounds like he has been.
I think
he's still been doing Tony time.
Yeah.
I thought he was stopping that.
He's been doing Tony time and headlock time when he's not doing Tony time.
I guess the headlock maybe is he said, that's how I show my affection. No, it's how you friend zone someone, which I think he was doing.
Yes,
he was trying to friend zone her so bad.
Can't headlock her. Have you seen the time and effort she puts into her hair and her makeup?
Yeah, don't headlock that woman.
No.
No, Tony.
I do find her difficult to watch.
Yeah,
because she's just a lot of anger all the time. But yeah, I can see where the anger comes from, because she's probably just known the whole time,
and he's just not saying it.
Yeah, he's known that she's pissed off that she's 57. He's pissed off she's 57.
And if he keeps, like, if he has continued to just go home on the weekends,
yeah,
he hasn't put in the effort. So I do sympathise for her there. And also, I love that she picked up on the bullshit of the baby thing. The baby thing is just absolutely hilarious. It's so funny. It's like his friend, that her friends just gave him a get out of jail free card, or what he thought was one.
They thought it was going to work because they thought, okay, this is great. She won't get offended. This is just an easy thing to lay it on.
But when he hasn't said it for 5 weeks, and the experts are like, we didn't know about this.
He sits down with a cup of tea. Yeah, no, just realised I want a baby, you know?
I want a child. Baby.
Yeah, it's quite a shame, but yeah, I want a baby. Like, what, Tony?
Tony, mate, get out. And Morena just said, like, he's disrespecting me more by saying this. And then at the dinner party, he said, I don't like your personality. And I was like, you know what? Finally.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said it.
Yeah.
Let's go. Go home. Get out of here, guys.
Should have cut it quicker.
Yeah.
Instead of doing Tony time, like, should have just cut to the chase.
What is the point in doing the experiment if you're just going to go home? Like, I do think that. I think you're allowed to, if you have a reason, like if you have a kid and I do think you need space, but I don't think you can go home for a full weekend every single weekend or regular. I don't know. I just don't think that's the right thing to do.
It is infuriating that she is made to feel, I mean, at least she's not really feeling like, you know, she's a barren woman, because she knows that's not really the reason that he doesn't want her. But still, the reason is age, which is basically the same thing. You just don't think when you're in your 50s and you're being matched up with someone in their 50s that you have to be anxious about that. So it's annoying.
It's that plenty of fish data thing. Do you know about this?
No. Data like DATA.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Because it's a dating website. There was this, like, I don't know when they did this. I think it was Plenty of Fish. Sorry, everyone, if I'm just completely... Or OK Cupid or something like that. They did some research and found that, like, as women got older... I mean, we know this to be true, but it's, like, actually what... It's like physical data that shows the truth. This statistic showed like a graph of women getting older and the age of the person that they like getting older, that they find attractive getting older as well.
Yeah.
And men get older and it just stays exactly the same age. And it's like, it's literally what happened.
Gosh.
And so it's just so crazy that why is that the way? Why can women accept and go along with it, and why can't men do that? I don't get it. Why do you want to go out with a fucking 22-year-old when you're 56? That's weird. Why do you want that?
It can't all just be about flesh.
Ooh. Can't it? No. But like, we know as like 2 30-year-olds. You're 31, I'm 29. Anyway, you're dating someone in your 20s, so actually you're more of a cougar than I am, so you can tell me, Days. But like, I know that if I was single, I would not be going out with someone who was 21.
You're the youngest person I've ever gone out with.
Like, what the fuck?
Horrible thought.
Horrible thought.
Absolutely awful. What are you going to talk about?
What are you going to talk about?
Oh my God, imagine how much they'd be on TikTok. Oh my God. You were bad enough.
But I don't anymore because
No,
I
you
love
don't. You don't. In fact, we've been unbelievably middle-aged recently, going to garden centres.
Oh my God.
I got binoculars. You gave me binoculars for my birthday. Best present ever.
You got a chicken brick from your sister-in-law. Sorry, and brother. But I think we know who did the research on that one. We're going to have chicken in the chicken brick tonight.
Yeah, so you can't be going to your 20-year-old and being like, should we prepare the chicken brick, darling?
But got to make sure you soak the chicken brick before you put the chicken in it tonight, love. Don't know where love came from. Never call you love. Love's coming out more. Anyway, okay, let's move on because Jesus Lord, we've got a lot to cover.
Okay.
And not a lot of time.
Said goodbye to Billy and Sierra.
Bye, Billy and Sierra.
Bye.
Okay, just quickly looking through Billy and Sierra.
I just thought it was funny when she said, well, first of all, the pout.
Yeah.
The upset pout. I wish I could pout so well when I was upset.
Yeah.
I went out with Tony and Adrian. It was totally innocent. We just went out for a plate of meat.
A plate of meat.
That sounds good.
Yeah, I want to have a
plate of meat.
I want a plate of meat right now. And it was so funny that she said, didn't she say I wish I was partnered with Adrian at first? And then Adrian said, no, I'm quite happy with Sierra. Or they asked, I think they just asked Adrian.
Said, yeah.
And then Adrian was like, no, I'm happy with Awhina. Sorry. He said, no, I'm quite happy. And she was suddenly like, oh.
Yeah.
And then she was full of regret.
Yeah, all of a sudden full of regret.
Well, only because Adrian said that he didn't want to be with her.
Is that how you read it?
Yeah.
I thought she was maybe kind of like, I think this is a negative cycle that she repeats in her relationships, and she probably saw it there for a minute, like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But I don't think she would have changed. Like, I don't think she could really be with Billy.
All she did as well was just say that I regret not telling Awhina, and just never said anything about Billy the whole time.
I still think her and Adrian have probably hooked up.
Yeah, me too.
Since, like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Don't know why, though. That's a hideous idea.
My God. Well, should we talk about Adrian and Awhina
Yeah,
then?
let's just do it. I've got so many messages about this. Sarah said that it made her cry. Your dad was fuming.
So was it the actual fight?
I think
with
it was the
family?
altercation, kind of the round table, if you will.
That has to be the most intense argument that we've seen on MAFS. Like, it was so horrible.
It was so painful because there was no space for Awhina to defend herself or say what she really thought, because also they were criticizing anything she said, but there wasn't any space for her to even say anything anyway, so why would she even try?
There's so many more ways to have your brother's back but still be kind and diplomatic. Like, you could say, like, yeah, I really understand why you would feel like that, and Adrian, do you think you've been doing this, and blah blah blah.
But they immediately said, we're the kind of family that defend each other no matter what. And people might not understand that. I'm like, yeah, because that's fucked up.
Yeah.
You shouldn't do that. And also, Adrian is so embarrassing, and it's hilarious how he just sits there like a little baby boy while all of these 3 rando women just come and defend him. I'm like, who the fuck are they to you? And why aren't you saying anything, you loser?
Yeah. And then he just follows them out after and goes, happily.
Yeah.
Like, leave the flat happily.
Oh my God, that was so
like
embarrassing.
A pathetic teenager. Honestly, I absolutely adore Cleo.
Me too. Cleo was such a good sister in that moment, like saying, I see you've been crying. This is not good. The way she said, these people, you don't need these people in your life. You do not need him in your life.
They're not good enough. He's not good enough for my nephew.
Yeah, that was amazing. Awhina just needed to be affirmed.
Yeah, she grabbed.
Awhina needed to be affirmed.
Affirmed with a W.
Affirmed. Yeah.
Cleo like brought her out of it, and she even said at the dinner party after that, like, my stomach used to drop when he would ask me to do something or when he needed something from me because I knew I was going to do it, but now I don't feel that way.
How did he have all of that power? And he has that power in that family. And who the fuck is that ginger girl, Jasmine? She can get fucked. She wants to suck his willy so badly. It's unbelievable.
The way they stood out there and were like, if you look around in the rubbish, you're going to pull out some trash. Like, it was
And that girl went
horrible.
back in and said, I've wasted 4 days to come here away from my child and to get attacked
to
like
be
this.
attacked.
You absolute... I can't.
I'm actually really glad that it was on the telly, because otherwise I feel like their narrative would have won of like, now they're trying to be like, Cleo needs to apologise, you need to apologise for Cleo. And they could have just won out and kind of gaslit them, but there's no way that they can get away with that. Like, just
it's amazing.
Because Cleo might have been more impassioned in the way she was speaking doesn't mean that she was the one attacking. Like, they had the stinkiest, horriblest attitudes from the second they got in.
They were so attacking Awhina.
They were
obviously.
like bullying her.
Yeah.
She was basically quivering and not even saying anything.
Yeah.
God.
And Awhina then admitted that she texted Cleo beforehand and said, go easy on Adrian.
Oh my God.
Like, Awhina's such a good person, and they are the worst.
And then Adrian, after getting told off by the experts, after this was then like, well, I'm just happy because, they made me say I was in the wrong last time, but there's no way I was in the wrong this time. She has to apologise. I'm like,
oh my God,
mate.
You've had all of these weird girls tell you you're not wrong. I couldn't believe that posse. Like, it was so embarrassing.
Yeah. And then he comes...
You just know that if you were serving them at a restaurant, you would hate them. They would be awful. They would be so... Yeah.
And he just, as soon as he sees her again, he just starts manipulating her. Like,
well, what was so funny that when he came into the apartment, after all of that, he just said, yo, what's happening? What's happening? Yo! Are you kidding? That's all you've got to say, you absolute dick.
Oh my God.
And then I remember when he came into the dinner party first alone, I was really annoyed because I was like, they're letting him hold the narrative before she even comes in the room. But it was actually worked out to be amazing because it gave her the opportunity to hear it. And it was so manipulative. He said, I don't want to talk about it tonight. And she was like, I've already heard you talking about it. That was so good. She was so brave.
Yeah. It's horrible what he's done to her. And he's just, any opportunity to blame everything on her, he'll take it.
But he's just absolutely humiliated himself.
Yeah.
And it was so brilliant at the dinner table when they were all like, okay, what have you done? What have you done then to put her first? And how have you shown up for Awhina? I asked her to go on a walk. And asked her to go to the cinema with me. Did you go and see the movie or watch a movie with me? Did you watch a movie with her? No, I didn't, because she came back late. And we gotta go. We've been out for dinner. And she was like, no, we haven't. Yeah, we've been out for a nice dinner. We went to Nando's. Everyone pissed themselves.
He's going to go off and have such a tantrum about being laughed at now, though.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I hope he's absolutely mortified.
Yeah.
I hope he's so mortified. But he won't be, because for some reason, his family, he's just going to listen to his family and they're going to be like, oh, baby.
He's like a little prince, isn't he? Oh.
They're White Lotusing it up back at home.
Oh my God.
That just made me think of that video. No three-way. Absolutely no three-way. There's this video on Instagram of these identical twins saying that. It just really makes me laugh. I don't know what the piano is. No three-way. Bang. Absolutely no three-way. Bang. Just because we're twins, do you think we're into that? Anyway. Really makes me laugh.
I think Awhina has fully let go of him, and thank the Lord, fully let go.
Yeah, thank God. Thank you, Cleo. Cleo.
Cleo. Bit of Jackie and Ryan.
Yeah.
For once, they weren't the maddest of the week. That's unusual. Really is something.
Well, almost. Like,
and they're not far off. Never far off.
Jackie brought out the list at the commitment ceremony again, and I didn't really understand why.
And started reciting it again, even though everyone had just like
audibly
explained
sighed.
how ridiculous it was that she'd made it in the first place. Oh my God.
And then she brought up the paramedic to her friends and family. Ryan's friends were really weird. I was like, who is this one dude that he obviously went to school with, and his partner? I don't think they're friends.
I know. And how are these quite normal women friends with Jackie?
I don't know. And then before they went into the commitment ceremony, into the dinner party, Jackie said, I think what Ree did was a crime against humanity.
What the fuck? Like, she said what I did broke girl code. She breaks the rule of humanity, justice and peace.
Yeah, her assumptions are getting in the way of truth and justice in this case. Is she a lawyer? I can't remember.
I don't think so.
Because I'm like, why are you talking like you're Elle Woods? It's like she watched fucking whatever that film is, Legally Blonde, and then has just decided to start talking like this. And then she said, I've got a lecture on this, on truth. I've got a lecture on respect that I want to read to Ree.
God.
I've got a lecture on respect, but I'm not going to fucking stand up when Ree comes in the door.
This is another version of Adrian being like, well, it can't always be me causing the trouble. Can't always be me who's doing the wrong. It's like, yes, it is you in the wrong. It actually is, That's why you're always getting told off. Stop doing things, then you'll stop getting told off.
Yeah.
Her being like, you hurt me because you said that I was mean. You were mean. That's why she said it.
And you did interfere in their relationship.
You did something wrong, and she said she didn't like it. Quite nicely, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then you had to apologise. And that's why you're upset, because you were in the wrong. I can't believe she's trying to say that Ree's nasty now.
It's really funny.
Oh my God.
Ree, maybe a lot of things. Boring, sure. Can't think of anything else.
Hence boring.
She may be a lot of things, but nasty? No.
Nah.
She's fine.
She's fine. Her and Jeff are fine.
I've got one note on Beth and TJ.
Oh God, yeah.
If you're happy to move on.
They seem nice.
They're fine and they seem quite good.
Yeah.
There was a hint of something though.
Oh, what
in
was
the commitment ceremony, in the editing. She said, I'm excited for what the experiment has in store. And then there was a pan to Billy.
Oh.
And I'm like, are they going to text? Are they going to be texting once he leaves or something?
Well, I did wonder, because they're both English and
that's exactly what I thought.
Interesting.
So maybe they have something in common. And maybe now that she's got a taste of the relationship life, she, wants more and more, which is what happens to people, isn't it? Unlock something. Now she's like reached that point, she can now go further.
Yeah.
So that's just something I noticed.
Very clever observations.
Thank you. Dave and Jamie,
having a lovely time.
gorgeous.
He says she makes his soul smile or something.
Bloody hell.
Lovely.
She has a lot of love for him.
He's
gorgeous.
continuing to pipe up at the right moments and
Yep.
tell the men off,
Yep.
which is nice.
He's a good bloke.
I hope so.
I'm worried.
Same.
Okay, moving on. Paul
Yes.
committed such a crime. He
What?
booped Karina on the nose at the commitment ceremony in front of everyone.
Boop.
He booped her on the nose.
You don't do that.
Don't boop a girl
No,
on the nose.
no.
That's as bad as Tony's headlock.
Don't do it in public. Especially don't do it when you're being filmed in a weird fake therapy
boop.
session.
A boop on the nose.
It was such a long stretch over. No. Horrible. Horrible.
Get that
From
out.
boop to wall punch. God, what a week.
This is such an interesting thing that's happened.
Yeah, it is. I'm glad that it's a conversation.
Yeah, me too.
No, I'm not glad, it happened.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's a conversation
Yeah.
because, to be honest, I don't know how I feel about it. I'm happy that I see all the men being like, that's awful.
Yeah.
But this is something that I've heard about so many people doing.
About boys doing, yeah.
Boys that you know,
Yeah.
boys at school, people's boyfriends.
Yeah.
I don't feel like this is that uncommon.
No.
It's bad, but I'm glad that it's being treated like a really serious thing because
I'm just thinking about our walls are stone. How does anyone know what kind of wall it is? It must just the thought of it.
I don't think like millennial towers or whatever they're called is made of stone.
No,
thank
but
God.
just like, what if it was by accident? Your hand would completely crumble.
I know.
It's really dumb. Obviously, he's also a wellness advisor.
Shit.
So this is it's gonna potentially ruin his career.
Yeah, that is really stressful.
Yeah, but you're right. It is a common thing that men seem to do.
Yeah.
But I don't know enough about the a wall punch being linked to aggression. Is it like a common thing that aggressive men do?
Yeah.
Like, is there a sliding scale to physical
violence
abuse of your partner? Like, I don't know. Or is it?
That was the implication, wasn't it? That was kind of
I think so.
the concern.
Which is interesting because
It's a
maybe the experts
display-
will bring that out.
In my mind, it's not just a thing that you're doing because you're frustrated. It's like a display of strength and power.
Yeah.
That can be frightening.
And that is a hold over your partner that you're like,
Yeah.
I could do this
Look
to you.
what I can
It does
do.
say like, I could do this to you.
It
But
is scary.
It's interesting because also Karina said, I'm not scared of him, which made me think, so we all know that she should be. So
Yeah, and also I believed her, but also I felt bad for her that she immediately felt like she had to make it better for him.
And I guess that's because he allegedly hasn't shown any other sign of violence this whole time, which is such a thing in like toxic or abusive relationships, that you look for that person and she's like, I know he's good because he's done all of these good things before, but it's hard to know if that does completely undermine it all.
Yeah.
And
it is.
I've thrown a thing in rage before, and and I understand that impulse to like
do a movement
that feels like you're getting something out.
And I think it was good of him to talk about different ways of processing frustration, that he knows that he has to have space and go away, because that is a thing that some people need different things when they're heightened. But he came into that apology ready to blame all of it on her in quite a manipulative, subtle way.
You didn't give me space, so I punched a wall.
Yeah. What do you think? I just punched a wall out of thin air for no reason?
Yep, that was really bad.
That was bad.
So I was also
and
ready.
she didn't tell anyone that,
Yeah.
as far as we know, at the dinner.
I was also ready to be like, that's really good of him, because he's obviously really embarrassed and upset.
Yeah.
But actually, is he crying so much like that, like a little baby, because he knows it's jeopardizing his career, rather than feeling like it was the wrong thing to do?
Like a little baby, sorry. The way that just
Crying like a little
He's
baby.
crying so much like that, like a little baby.
I think it's just because you know what actually I was thinking of, and this is dark, sorry. It made me think about like sexual
Adolescence.
abuse or like rape cases, like of people that are like the men are like, oh, I didn't mean to do it. It's gonna jeopardize my college swimming career. Don't rape someone then. That's kind of that's what I meant crying like a little baby, because I just think actually maybe it is just pathetic and embarrassing that you're crying like that when you did something wrong. And he tried, but at the same time he tried to own up for it.
On the flip side, is he just immediately acknowledging how bad it is?
Yeah. Does he know it's actually really...
And does he really upset that he made her feel uncomfortable?
Yeah. And
I think it's a bit of both.
Me too. I guess he's trying to justify it, but in justifying it, he's blaming her and saying that she made him be violent.
It's really hard not to do that, because if you're thinking about something you've done that you're ashamed of, I think the brain naturally tries to find a source, like, oh, I was a dick because these conditions were in place that meant that, like, it's really hard to just say I was wrong.
Yeah, and you don't want to think of yourself as
you don't want to admit
and also
because it's almost like, oh, I'm not bad then. If I can link it to someone else's fault, that means I'm not bad.
Yeah, I'm not a monster, I'm not violent, you know.
Yeah, but he really needed to just admit it and not attach it to her in any way.
Yeah. And it looks like at the commitment ceremony he's going to do that to her again, and the experts aren't going to like it.
Oh, God. Oh, I didn't actually watch the flash forward.
Sorry.
The preview.
Spoiler alert. Well, it's not really a spoiler alert. It's just a continuation of the same thing.
Yeah. I'm really glad that, like, John and the experts said that's not acceptable in any way. I'm glad the men said that, but part of me was thinking, would you be saying this if you weren't on the telly? Like, would you be having such a hard line against it if you heard your friend had done it? Or like, were they kind of silent in because they were like, oh shit, we're meant to be really upset about this, but maybe I'm being too skeptical. I believe
Dave.
Yeah, he seems to have like a consistent set of values that he goes back to.
That does add up for me, that he is consistent in his way. Whereas like when Ryan's saying it's never acceptable to resort to violence.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're just verbatim saying what your mum said to you when you were 7.
That's exactly what I thought.
Yeah.
And then the next minute going, you've all had your time. Let my wife speak now.
The my wife thing.
Oh my God.
My wife. When they do that on the show, always makes me cringe. It doesn't matter who says it. I'm like,
yeah,
shut up.
So it's just a lot of nuance this week. We're not casting out. We're not exiling any of them.
Cancelling.
Apart from Adrian.
Yeah, Adrian. Sorry, Adrian is cancelled.
Out.
Yeah.
Done. You've had too many chances.
I never gave him one.
But it's complicated when it comes to Paul. When it comes to Elliot, it's complicated and stinky. Pretty bad. I can't wait to see what happens next.
I can't wait to see what happens next. So if you want to watch this episode, if you're not already watching on YouTube, there's a link in the show notes. Go and subscribe and like and comment, do all of those things. That'd be really lovely.
Must apologise though, because Spinny's currently spread eagled on the bed.
So you might see his balls. If you wanted it put a bit more plainly, sorry Spinny, I'm not trying to embarrass you, but it is the truth. And you can follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Doing the MAFS. You can join our Patreon, where you get a bonus episode almost every week. At the moment it's been every 10 days or so, but we're trying our hardest, and we've got loads of extra content on there. We're talking about White Lotus, Severance. What else have we been watching? Love on the Spectrum. We'll probably talk about all of these things on the Patreon. And
lots of films that we've been watching as well. All the Oscar films.
Yeah, you can go back and listen to those. From as little as like £3 a month.
Yeah. Come and join us there. It's fun.
Yeah. And if you haven't reviewed this podcast on Spotify or Apple, please do so. We love the reviews. They're really helpful in getting us in the charts as well. We want to, spread the word far and wide.
We read all of them. We love all of them. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That's it.
I love you. Bye.